Welcome. My name is George Pearson and I run the How To Gurus channel here on YouTube. Most of the videos in my channel are short demonstrations of the different tools and techniques you'll find in various software programs. Right now I have several hundred of these quick videos available on YouTube. This video though is different. This is part of a new series of longer demonstrations that I'm doing to show you how to complete complex projects from start to finish using a variety of techniques and tools. All of the images I use in these projects are in the public domain, and I've included a link to the pictures in the video description in case you want to work along using the same images. Okay, let's move on to the project. In this Photoshop wedding photography video, we'll be putting together a quick little invitation card, reception card, whatever. Just a few ideas to do a fast little card here. So here's our basic layout and design. Let's take a look at the actual Photoshop file on this. Here we go. So we have a few layers. Of course, there is the text layer right there. And notice that there's a very small outer glow on that. Same colors as background, just helping to separate the text out from the darker background areas. Very, very subtle. Behind that, we have a picture in here with these two rings and some roses. That's right there. And you can see we're actually using a blending mode on this. Notice that there's no color in here, but we're seeing color over here. That's because I'm using a blending mode of luminosity and then a lower opacity, so we're just getting the values in here but no color. Behind that is a simple streak of this kind of yellowish color in here, and that has the edges softened up. We'll be taking a look at that. Behind that is a layer here of flowers, kind of old-fashioned looking flowers, and just using a color blending mode and an opacity setting to bring that down, and then the background color for the overall image. It's all pretty straightforward, as you can see. Let's go ahead now and see how this is built one step at a time. I'll just build this right on this same file to make it easy to see what we're doing so I can compare back and forth. First thing I'll do though is I'll put in a new group up here, and then I'm just going to grab all of this stuff and drop it into that group. So there's the original up in here for comparing. First thing I want to do is I want to create a new layer with your background color. Now I'm just going to quickly grab that color like that. There we go, just so we have that. But the way you would approach that is you would create a new layer, and let me just a couple of things real fast here. Let's just get rid of that background, move that group underneath. There we are. Let's make a new layer, and then on this new layer you would find your foreground color that you want to use. You can see what I've used here is this kind of, it's in the middle of the oranges over here, and it's very, very light, very subtle color in there. Choose OK, and then just use the paint bucket and fill. It's that easy. It just fills that in. So that gives us our basic coloration here for the card. The next thing we want, as you can see here from our group, is this background picture. And I have that up here. Actually, it's here someplace. There we go. I'll just pull that down and float that above our file. Grab the background and drop it in place. We can get rid of that now. Now, since it's just a background, I'm not going to be worrying about any real quality in here on this. I'm just going to resize this to fit our page. Edit, transform, scale, and I'll just grab it and pull it over here to the left and the top. Again, it doesn't have to be exact in this particular use, and we'll apply that. So we have our basic background picture. I picked one that was fairly soft in its colors. It just helps to blend it in a little bit better. Now on our original down here, you can see we used a darker color blending mode and then brought the opacity down on that. So let's take a look at that. So we have our blending modes up here. There are lots of these blending modes that you can use, all kinds of different options. For instance, we can do a darken color, multiply, color burn. lots and lots of possibilities in here on using these. I'm just using a darker color blending mode on that, and then bringing the opacity down as well, just fading that in so it becomes just kind of, blends it into our background color. Again, lots of options on these blending modes. I'm just going to go through here and use the wheel on my mouse and just kind of roll through these. You can see there's darken, multiply. That's not too bad. The multiply is actually kind of nice. It blends the colors in a little bit better here. There's color burn, linear burn. This is the darker color. I gained some of the color back again. It's not quite as much of a blending in. We have lighten and different lighter effects as I go through here. And some strange things depending. There's a luminosity. So again, for this one I'm using the darker color setting. But these blending modes are a great technique for doing these kind of background things. It's a real nice technique for doing these background adjustments. I recommend taking some time and really becoming familiar with these different blending modes. Alright, the next thing we want to have is our color bar in the middle in here. Now our page is 6 inches wide, as you can see. If I want to just about the middle section, that's going to be the middle 2 inches. And you might want a little wider than that. Let's just take a fast look down here. And let's just bring this up a little bit. I'll hide this stuff. There we go. So you can see we have just about at 1.5 inches and 4.5 inches in there. So that's about the width for this middle section. Okay, let's bring our stuff back up again. So bringing the guidelines here to the 1.5 and the 4.5 point. That gives me approximately 1.5 inches on either side. Well, now just fill this area. So I want a new layer and rectangular marquee tool. Make sure that your snap is on. There we go, looks good. Then I can just go right onto the edges here. Will snap right to those guidelines so it matches my measurements precisely. Once I have that selection, just go ahead and fill that selection. There we are. I can now deselect and I can hide those guides. Now I want to have the edges soft in here. Easy way to do that is just to use a blur filter on this. So filter and blur. Gaussian blur is a real nice one to use. You get a nice little softness in there, and you can choose how much blur you want. As that kind of blurs out from that edge. We just want to soften that down a little bit, kind of in there somewhere. We don't want too much. And choose OK. So that just softens the edge up. Now the nice thing about using that filter is it gives us a bit more control to put in that soft edge. Alright, we have that set up. We now have another picture on top of this. As you can see down here, we have this picture of some roses, and the wedding bands are in there. That's this picture here. I'll just float that again, pull that over, and then we can resize this to get just the right size. I'm just comparing to my own. Actually, it's about the same size. I'll leave it as is. Now, if you want to, you can cut this down to match that background. We already know what our guidelines are, so let's just do our view. Bring that back up again. There's the guides. I'm going to come in here and just use the same selection to pull it in like that. Let's invert that selection. Select inverse, hit the delete key. That just cuts off the sides for us. Now I want to blend this into that background layer. All I want to have is the luminosity in this case, and that's normal. It's just off screen down below here. It's at the very bottom of the list, and that's luminosity. As you can see there, it just comes in and all we see are the values. We don't have any color information. It takes the color information out and just gives me the values in here. Now I want to fade this back again. So let's come in and adjust our opacity and fade that down. We don't want much, just a little bit in there, because we want to be able to read our text on top of this. And that's pretty good. Notice how the edges just disappeared when I did that. You can see a little bit up here maybe. Now to soften those edges up, like that little edge, you can kind of see the edge right there. We can soften that up easily with just the eraser tool, and we want a soft tool and a fairly good sized brush in here. And then just kind of come in here with the eraser and knock back those edges a little bit. Just softens up and blends it into the background a bit better. Okay, that's fine. So we have the basic background look. Now all we need is to have our text on top of that. We can see our text is right down here. I'm going to bring this, let's just hide this stuff. Take a look at our text layer. There we go. You can see that our text is in black, so make sure your text color right there is black. And the one I'm using here is called Vivaldi. It's a standard typeface. You can find that on the internet. Just do a search for Vivaldi font and you'll find that. You may already have it actually on your system. Any real nice kind of scrolly font will look well for this. I like the Vivaldi because it's kind of a combination of, it's kind of right in between a serif and a sans serif, and has a bit of a scriptiness to it. Almost looks like it's a a nice calligraphic style typeface. This whole thing is laid in here as one bit of text. You see I have 30 points on the top line, 24 on the next line. Down below here we have 14, and I went for a little different typeface. This is just your standard Times New Roman italic to match that look, making it a little more legible for the actual address down there. But it's all contained on just that one text layer. I'm not going to bother just retyping this whole thing in. So let's just copy that. Save me some typing here. Right click and copy. Okay, back up to our working image here. So you want a new layer, and then in that clicked off, let's just go here, type tool, edit, and I lost my text. Let's just try that again. Hide all those layers. Right click, copy. There we go. Okay, I'll be smart this time. I'm going to just lock this group so it doesn't cause me that problem again. There we go. Bring these all back up again. And let's edit. And paste our text in. There it is. The reason I put that extra layer in there is just to make sure that I got the new layer on the text. It's just a habit I'm in. So come in and place your text. And now if you have snap right here, the text should automatically center for you. It should snap right to that center point. So it's kind of snapping right to that center point right there. There we are. So we have our basic text. Now I put in a little bit of a glow. You can see how it's a little hard to read the text over in here and over here where the dark text goes over a darker background, and right in there a little bit. So to make the text a little more legible, I did a glow around the text using the same color as this background color. So we'll do a layer and then a layer style right here, and we're doing an outer glow right there. There's the outer glow. If you click on the little color swatch there, you can then actually choose a color right off of your image. So there's that color for our background. Once you have that in, you can adjust the opacity and the size just a little bit. You can see how as I bring that up, it makes it a little easier to see the text. So just a very small amount in there to help the text stand out from that background. I don't want too much. I just want just a little bit to help the text stand out. And there we go. That is creating a wedding reception card or invitation card or whatever you want to have done. Using just some real standard tricks here and a little bit with our blending modes to give us an interesting background effect. Let me just get rid of those guidelines quickly here. Let's just hide that. And there it is. Now once you have it in, of course, you may want to tweak things, like your position looks a little high to me. So bring it down a little bit. Looks a little better in here somewhere. But there it is. That is creating an invitation card here, just using some real fast, quick, and easy tricks. Thank you for watching this special Photoshop photography project video. Don't forget to subscribe so that you will get first notice of new project videos in the future. Just click on this link right here where it says subscribe here. You can get all 12 project videos in this series along with 26 special videos demonstrating the tools and techniques that I used in these projects by clicking on this link right down here. And then thank you again for watching this training video.